friends. Welcome back to the Do Cool Shit podcast. You can hear us laughing because we've attempted recording. This is our third time, so we're just regulating our nervous systems and we're doing the damn thing. But an awesome guest with me today. We're working through shit together, and I'm excited to chat with her and not have this kick us off. So, Dal, welcome.
Hi again.
I'm going to introduce you again so we can get it on the actual episode.
Right.
So, Dal, you're a nutrition coach, or a mom, you're an athlete, and you are someone who, you talk the talk, but you also walk the walk, because we've mentioned you've lost about 120 pounds in your journey and kept it off. And you do it in a way that I think is so powerful and empowering. And so I'm
That-
excited to chat with you today.
yeah, thank you.
And
I am too. Minus all the glitches.
minus all the glitches,
You
we
know,
just gotta laugh about it.
you want to know something funny before we get into it? So, this morning, I have my pancakes and I have my bowl of blueberries, frozen ones that I, throw in the microwave. I picked up the bowl today and it's one of those corral bowls, so it just shatters into a million pieces if it drops. It dropped. It went
Ugh.
everywhere. And I swear to you, I was like, oh shit. And then I stopped. And my kids are like, oh, what happened? I'm like, nothing. My blueberries dropped. And that was it. Proceeded to like clean it up and just totally and completely regulate it. I was like, yes, it's automatic now.
Oh my God. Those are the moments that I can so much resonate with this. I've had a few of those moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, good job, me. Like
Right?
I've grown so much.
I know. Pat on the back.
Not really well. Good job. I love that. I love that share.
Yeah,
It's
well,
a day of navigating challenge.
it
So,
is. And it's a part of the whole process, which I'm sure you and I will get into because I know you're into it heavily as well. So, yeah, so let's just like going back, I mean, because we're recording this for the third time, but I'm not sure if I struggled with my weight my whole life, but I definitely struggled with like body image issues or, things like that, right? That started at a really early age for me, like at 5. And without going into too much detail, my culture, like there's a color hierarchy. And so it was like, oh, you're dark, you're too dark, you're not good enough, those kind of things. So they got ingrained in me at a very early age. And then growing up into teens, I think it's just the typical stuff. We're very active. We don't know a lot about nutrition per se, but we just kind of eat whatever. It was Coke and chips a lot. And then that kind of went into high school, but again, still super active. I played basketball for like years, I think since grade 2 on the team, like the school teams. And then I think as more like towards my late teens into my 20s, and that's when, you start university, you're not moving as much, there's no sports. You're eating out, you're working, you have money, so you're eating out a lot. And just partying, drinking, all those things. And it slowly, the weight creeped up. And it started off with like 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds. But I started to realize it at the end, like towards the 3rd or 4th year of undergrad. And, what do? We just start cardio, right? That's all you know.
mm,
And
yep.
so it was just reducing what I was eating, regardless of what that was, and just doing a ton of cardio. Yeah, the weight came off, but then it came back. And that was the start of the vicious yo-yo cycle. And I didn't know any better. And I think like most women, depending on the era that you grew up or the decade you grew up. So I'm like turning 45. So I've been exposed the 80s, 90s, 2000s, the low fat, the cardio, all of it. And I just went with what I knew, right? And I really like intrinsically believe that for a lot of women, they just don't know what they don't know. So, and even like just to kind of branch off a little bit, even when it comes to like your social media or your algorithm, I was having this conversation the other day. It's like, I honestly think like if all you know is that carbs are bad, and they make you gain weight, well, now all of a sudden your algorithm well, that's what it's gonna tailor to, right? Carbs are bad. So that's all you see. And unless, like me, I happen to come across a very good coach, I wouldn't have seen otherwise. Like I did Weight Watchers for years, years, on and
Mhm.
off, on and off. It worked until it didn't. Because
Yeah.
yeah, right? Like for my personal opinion, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm saying that it didn't teach me anything. I'm not saying that they don't have resources and things that, you could read up on and try to understand, but when everything's equated to a point, that really doesn't help you,
Mhm.
right? It's, when you actually learn about calories, that's a whole different story. And so, yeah, just going back to that, so it's always up and down. And I think the highest that I not think, the highest that I got to was 260. And that was after my second kid. So when I first started this journey, I wanted to do things differently. I just didn't know what different looked like. But at the time, what different meant to me was that I was gonna finally tackle the internal conflict that was going on inside of me. Yeah, so a large part of it, or a large part of this, and I think probably for many women, I'm just going to say women because that's who, relate to me, resonate with me, and I work with for the most part. But I think there's a lot more going on the inside, and then that translates into, you know, food isn't necessarily the problem. This is something like, Jeb is my mentor. So we were talking about this. Food isn't necessarily the problem. He says it's actually the answer, right? So for me,
Mhm.
the answer was food and booze. And that helped me numb what I didn't want to face, what I didn't want to confront. Even I would go so far as to say there was probably a large part of my life where even if I knew, like, I suppressed it, so I told myself I didn't know what was going on or what I needed to
Mm.
deal with, right? Does that make sense? Um,
Yeah.
and so over the years, then I was thinking about it more and more, and then it was that one day that I woke up and I was like, Enough's enough. I need to deal with my shit. I need to figure shit out." And so that for me was coupled with like, okay, I'm gonna start looking at my nutrition. I'm gonna start tracking my food. At the time, I was still on Weight Watchers, so that's what I was doing, and so I started doing that. But at the same time, I started looking internally and figuring stuff out on that end. Um, and then I started working. Like I'd lost 50 pounds in a really short period of time, which I don't recommend, but it
Yeah.
happened because I was on Weight Watchers, and I realized when I started cross referencing with a app like MyFitnessPal that at the time I could have eaten more and still lost weight, if that makes sense. Like my deficit was just way too large, and I was finding myself actually going in and out and feeling like it was really unsustainable at that point. Um, but again, then I started working out with Andrew. And so he had suggested, like, hey, let's do this. Let's figure this out. Like, if you really want to know about nutrition, he never said, don't do Weight Watchers. I was scared to go off Weight Watchers because
Yeah.
I was scared shitless. I was like, no, if I go off, I'm going to gain weight. And so that's why I started cross referencing. And over time, I let Weight Watchers go and I realized, oh shit, okay, this is what calories means. It's like I can, have a donut and it's not so bad. And, like I always use this comparison, but like a banana and a donut, they can
Mhm.
be similar calories. And in the grand scheme of things, if you look at your calorie intake, it's okay and it's not gonna hurt you. And that it's just the nutrient composition of the food we're looking at, right?
Right.
What matters. And so again, just going back to really wanting to learn about nutrition is what helped me become more confident with food. So tracking did to a degree help heal my relationship with food for sure. Um, but also counseling, also doing the inner work.
Yeah.
But throughout though, I was losing weight, I was building muscle, but that's not to say that I didn't have my challenges. So again, going back to when I started, this is something I think that I really want to point out for women is that I'm 40 plus. I have probably some perimenopause issues going on. I'm postpartum, I have hypothyroidism, that I've dealt with for, 25 plus years, so all my life. I drank a lot. I had a shitty relationship with food. I had a newborn, and another kid at home mid-pandemic, so let's not forget. So, so they were home all the time, didn't have any family support because I live outside of like, my family lives in a different, province, so, a state, and so travel was restricted, so it was really lonely, isolated, and, yeah, and I decided that this is what I needed to do. With all of those variables at play, right? Like, if you look at it, take a step back, we often cite that there's, so many barriers or cards against us, like from being able to even take that first step to initiate change. And so I had a whole list of stuff. And now when I think back, I'm like, shit, like if I could do it then, I can do anything now,
Oh, hell yeah.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so, yeah, that, and then I think the other thing that I'll just highlight, and then we can talk about whatever after, is that, when I was working out, when I started training with, my coach, I think 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months into it, I was driving to a training session, and in my head, I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is a lot." Like, I'm trying to train 3 days a week. I'm trying to get my steps in. I'm, doing the tracking, the nutrition, I'm not sleeping a lot. Like, how am I gonna do all of this? Like that, that infamous checklist that we always see, sleep, this, and that. And I just thought to myself, Dal, like, what are you doing? You don't have to do all this. And I'm like, you have to work within the parameters of your life. Like, this is insane. And so I went to the session, talked to him, and he's like, yeah, like, you don't have to. Let's reduce your training sessions, and it's totally okay. And I guess a part of me was looking for permission, to some degree, because
Mhm.
I still felt like I had to do all of the things to make progress. But I didn't, and that's kinda where my whole, that's where I learned that I could work within the parameters of my life and still succeed, probably more so.
Mm.
Yeah, so
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was gonna ask you about that because I saw that that was, like that's a mantra of
yeah,
yours, right? It's, work within the parameters of your life, and I
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
Do you do you feel like doing Weight Watchers, because what I know about Weight Watchers is it's fairly strict, and at least what I've heard from people, because 'cause I've never been in Weight Watchers meetings,
Mhm.
is that there can be some elements of shame and kind of black and white into things with it.
Yeah, yeah, my experience, yeah, I mean, you're going in there, you are weighing, there's a lineup, as you get into the meeting, and they do weigh you. I don't think I felt shame, but there was a sense of like, there would could be some comments like, "Oh, okay, you gained 2 pounds," or "Okay, oh, look, you lost 5 pounds," and, the tone changes, right? It might not be,
Mhm.
intentional, but it's a natural, I think, human response, so when you lose, the person citing that is happier, but when you gain, they're like, "Oh," right? So there's that,
Mhm.
and then the meetings themselves, I mean, they discuss a lot of things. I think a lot of people are in a state where they already feel shitty. And so when someone is talking about their success in front of everyone, others can feel that kind of self blame, guilt, shame about their own progress. So definitely there is an element of that, whether intentional or not, it's there. And it is strict in terms of they have list of foods, certain points attached to certain foods, and then it can also reinforce that mindset of trying to squeeze in certain foods within certain guidelines, and they not may not necessarily be good for you. There's also like a free food thing. I'm not sure what it looks like now, but I'm sure it still is. But like, yeah, like chicken breast and eggs and Greek yogurt, they're free, even though they specify this is what a serving size is. But I think that they're placing kind of the onus on the person to say, okay, I'm full, I'm going to stop at like a portion size, even if I'm hungry, but we know that's not gonna happen, right? Um, but you're not learning about food. Like, you're learning about
Yeah.
nutrition, like, these things are healthy, they're nutrient dense, but you're not learning about what calories mean in the grand scheme of things. There's a heavy focus on low fat, no, sugar-free items, um,
Mhm.
and you never actually really know how much you're eating,
Mm.
right? You never really know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could be eating 1,200 or you could be eating 1,800. You wouldn't know.
You would have no idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm to me, it's like any other plan. Yes, it'll put you in a deficit. But what are you getting out of it? What are you learning? What are you learning in keto? What are you learning in intermittent fasting? Nothing, that you're in a deficit and you lost weight, really. That's it.
Right, right. And the big thing too, to come back to working with the parameters of your life, the sustainability comes with what I always say, being a human, and there's so many things that come at you that are uncertain and unpredictable, and whether we want to or not, or we have emotions and we
Mhm.
have a nervous system and we have all of these things that can so heavily influence, like, our behaviors and our mood influence each other so much, and those aren't things that we learn about when it
No.
comes to, like, programs like Weight Watchers, for example, or
Right.
knowing that can change, like, "Oh, if I feel, like, pressure, like, oh, this all feels like a lot to me," but a lot of people will say, "My success heavily relies on me doing all of these things,"
Mhm.
then that's that's like burnout city in my mind. It leads people to quit or burn out.
Yeah, it is. I always say, so something that, I started off strictly tracking. I didn't look at the quality of my food. I just was looking at the quantity, and I didn't exercise. The steps that I got in were just basically what I got in and around the house doing, your everyday things with your kids or whatever that may be. And if you've been uh, overweight, like, for me, this is my opinion, you're better off getting that weight off so that you can move. Because when you're that
Mm,
overweight, it's really hard to move, right? Um, and and just sorry, going back to what you were saying, I really want to talk about that. Okay, so yeah, like, just starting off with one thing. If you When I started, if you told me I had to do all of those things, it would have been like a what quick fixes did for me back then. You go in,
mhm,
you go hard, you do it all, and you, like you said, you crash and burn, right? Even though all
mhm.
of these things are where we want to get to eventually, I think what many people fail to realize is that, like, you don't not only don't you have to do it all at once, you probably shouldn't, especially if you've had a history of gaining weight, losing weight, and if you don't understand the fundamentals, right? Like the foundations of lifestyle and habits and all of that. And so that's what I started with. And then I implemented walking. And even that, it was going from 3,000 to 5,000, and then 5 to 6, 7, then to 8, then to 10. And now I'm at 15 plus, right? But that's 4 years, and then in between, I got strength training in, and strength training hasn't, like, it's been consistent for me, but it's varied with depending on my season of life, and I remember when I first started with my little one, like, I couldn't go get through a session without at least three. I had to break it up into 3 sessions throughout the day if I wanted to get my
Mhm.
entire training session done. Because, first of all, it takes 15 minutes to put a kid to sleep. Then they sleep for 15 minutes. And then
Yeah.
but just the demands of parenthood, diapers and all of that stuff. Like, there's just so much going on. And so, really, when I had that kind of epiphany, I say, that really helped me. It really did, because that guided me for the rest, basically, until now, for my business, for me personally, and I still use that as, like, a guardrail for myself. So one example I give is, like, recently, my training sessions were really long, and they just were. I mean, for most people, they're about an hour, which is fine. But when you have kids, that hour can turn into an hour and 45 minutes, sometimes 2 hours, right? Just someone needs their butt wiped, someone wants food, someone, right? It's always something. And so I finally talked to my coach and I'm like, "Oh, this is too much. What can we do?" He's like, "Oh, cool. Boom, boom, boom. Here's your new, training regimen." And it's like, "Cool. I can get this done in 40 minutes now." And so that's what's worked for me. And it's been fine. It's better than nothing. Right? Or it's better than being inconsistent. At least I'm consistent now and doing it 3 days a week versus trying to do one-hour session and then saying "fuck it" to the other ones. Sorry, I'm swearing.
Right. No,
Okay.
I love swear.
Okay, good.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I love when people do that. No, I agree, and I what I find with a lot of people that I work with is that they wanna go so hard and they feel like they, quote, unquote, "should be able to do that," they're, like, high achieving humans
Yeah.
and there's so much pressure and a lot of hard feelings that I think can get associated with maybe that level of incompetence they think is there because they can't do that level, and
Mm,
it's like, "Yo, let's lower the barrier of entry." If you cannot consistently eat protein with your first meal and drink 1 liter of water, then why the hell are we trying to do 17 other things?
exactly.
Like
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I know. And it's trying to help them understand that and get to a point where they're not so hard on themselves, right? Like, I would say that, self-compassion and kindness and giving myself grace, were things that I didn't do. Like, I was so hard on myself all those years, and it was always like, "You suck, you're at fault," like, all those voices that are in all of our heads that we should be doing more depending on the culture you grew up, like the standards, the expectations, obligations. It is so deeply, deeply layered,
oh, yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
where do these thoughts come from? Where do these expectations or these narratives that we tell ourselves, where do they come from? And that's what, like, and I know you do this. Like, this is what we try to challenge our clients with, right? Is
Mhm.
like, hey, ask yourself, where is this coming from?
Yeah. That's the deep work, and it's a lot of the stuff that well, I think service level in fitness industry, nutrition, weight loss, all of that is just it's all about quick fixes. It's a money-making industry,
Uh-huh.
right? So
Uh-huh.
it's made to look easy and like you just need to be disciplined and want it more and just do these things. And we know on a deeper level that you could do those things and they will work, and what are you getting out of
Out
it?
of it.
Like, what is it actually supporting you in? And if you're wanting, like, real change and real transformation, then we gotta go deep. Like you said, like, sometimes it goes back to being 5 years old
Yeah,
and
and it's
stuff,
not like,
so
we're not your counselors here, but like at least, you coming to the realization as the client that, oh shit, like this is deeply rooted. And I wonder where, that part of me popped up back in the day. And is that the same part of me that's coming up now? Right. And I work with Jeb, and so we talk a lot about like safety, and
Mhm.
feeling safe, and that self protection kind of mode that comes up, and those parts of yourself. That's what they're doing. They're protecting you from something, and this is not like don't hate, and I'm not hating on the rest of the industry, but just generally speaking, numbers aren't enough. Numbers, systems, they will, I feel like they'll fall apart, in the absence of some of that inner work, whatever that work looks like.
Yeah,
Right? Going back
I
to
agree.
exactly what you said, like it's like a quick fix. So fine, you do it for 3 months, you get the results, then what? Like
Mhm.
where we didn't get to the root of the problem. Like why are you binging? Why are you having these episodes where you find yourself and like you're just eating everything in the pantry, or you're good Monday to Friday and then you go off the rails on Saturday and Sunday. It's it's
Yeah.
it's like so much
Well,
more.
it's so much more, and I mean, like Jeb and I had talked about this. He was the last guest that I had on, and like sometimes it's as simple as okay, well, you haven't eaten meals all day long, so of
Yeah.
course you're gonna go ham in the pantry at night, but also some of it is like, "Oh, you're stressed as fuck," and, like, you or grew up in a diet culture family, and, like, your
Right.
family shamed you for eating certain things or made you eat clear your plate, like, there's a lot of stuff that can be associated, and I can completely agree that numbers are not enough and systems are not enough by themselves. There has to be a level of, like, attachment and self-awareness that goes
Self-awareness.
along.
Yeah, I think that's key. And
Mhm.
that's not to say that everyone has deep-rooted issue. No, like sometimes it's just the lack of knowledge, lack of awareness, lack
Mhm,
of exposure. Maybe like we talked about before, like the algorithm that, you're being fed is based
mhm.
on just what you know. And so sometimes it's just you don't know what you know. And it is as simple as that. And for that person, yeah, like tracking for awareness for whatever period of time, boom. They're going to do that.
Mhm.
They get it right. They get whatever results they're looking for, and they've learned some shit in the process, and now they're good to go. Right. But I know,
Yeah.
but my audience, no, not so much.
Yeah, mostly for mine
Right.
as well. So,
Yeah.
usually a lot of, like, nervous system dysregulation that we have to like you said, talking about your your systems just don't feel safe. It feels
Right.
like a threat to do these things, even if it's something like tracking a food that you deemed as bad
Right.
before, like,
Right.
people tend to run away from doing stuff like that, and we're like, "Okay, well, like, why? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Like what?
It's not that you're doing a bad job."
Yeah, and it's like, these so obviously there's lots of tools and strategies that we help our clients implement. But one big one I see is well, a couple of them. This is my opinion, but there's practice
Mhm.
the pause and then there's get food out of your environment. So set your environment up for success. Both I use. Both I'm sure you use as well. However, they can be limiting in that practicing the pause and just pausing for 10 minutes might not be enough. It might not be enough to disrupt the pattern because, well, where's the self-reflection? Where's the awareness? Like what was happening before? Again, going back to nervous system, what was happening before? What state were you in, right? If we're not having these conversations with our clients, that pause might not necessarily land the way, I know for me, like the way that my intention would be for it to land for them, to actually help them through it and so that they can use it the next time, right? And the other one, the environment, well, like, yeah, you can take the food away, but what happens when they're in an environment where that food is around? Right? So
Yeah.
so it's like, yeah, we can do it temporarily and it does work, and it can work for some, but for some, maybe not so much, right? Like I know for me now, um, I could have things in the pantry and never touch them, but then they can be there, and I could be going through a season of life where, uh-oh, like I probably shouldn't have them there, and I'm going at it, right? So yeah,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
yeah, lots
I'm
of
the same, and there's it's so I was just thinking about it, I was like, I found some candy from, like, last Halloween, like, over a year and a half, and I was like, "Oh, wow. This would never have been a thing for me years ago," and I was like, "Oh, interesting." But then there's some times where I'm like, "Yeah, don't buy that because you will probably eat the whole thing with, like, the chaos that's going on in your life
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now."
Exactly, right? So they're strategies that work. There's just so much more to them. But I would not want to be in a position where like I just can't have it around, period. So I want to learn
Yeah.
to have it around. That is the goal. The
Yeah.
ultimate goal is to
That's the
learn,
goal.
right? And so maybe taking it out of your environment for a short period of time might help get you to that goal, and that's cool. But at some point, like I don't know. That for me personally, and I mean, each individual can vary, but for me personally, I want to be able to be comfortable around it, be safe around it, and not right. Trust yourself, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's the
Trust
work we
yourself.
do. Yeah, that's big. That it is. It's self trust. Self trust is
Yeah,
huge.
that's such a big piece. I just made a post somewhere about that recently. Maybe it was in my I don't know where it was. Anyway, but I was like, it's not you don't have a follow-through problem, you have a self-trust problem.
Right. Right. And
A lot of people.
how do we build that trust? It's what I how I coach with my clients as well. It's just like, well, you just got to show up. You just got to practice.
Mhm.
It's putting in the practice and the
Yeah.
reps, right? And like
Yeah.
anything, it's funny. My son the other day, he's in soccer, and they lost their game, and it was their final game. And the question I always ask him is, "Oh, did you have fun?" He's like, "Yeah, it was fun." And he's like, "That's okay. We lost. Well, you have to lose in order to learn." I'm like, "Yeah,
Ah,
I'm doing good."
yeah, good job, mom. Oh my gosh.
But that right there, those are the lessons, right? Like we're just learning. It's kind of like for me, it's like, okay, 25, 30 years of this bullshit that was going on in my head, these narratives and the ingrained beliefs and all of that, and you don't unlearn that overnight,
I know.
right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Right?
It's not
It's
true.
like it took you that many years to get to where you are. And I think another part of this, and if you'd agree with me, is like the timeline. The timeline.
Mm,
Why are we so
mhm.
hell bent on that timeline? I know I used to be, and that's another
Oh, yeah.
part of the process I think for me was just letting go of the timeline and saying, "Okay, this is gonna happen when it happens," and, it's for life, and I think that's two-part, right? Like, letting go of the timeline and realizing that, this doesn't stop when you reach a goal. You gotta keep going,
Yeah.
right?
Those were big realizations for myself, and I've had a couple clients who are like, they're like, "Wait, do you do this
Forever.
forever?" And I was like, "I mean, to an extent, like,
Yeah,
like, you don't have to track your macros
right.
forever, but, like, you have that tool and you have that knowledge, and, like, sometimes you'll use it, sometimes you'll use the other skills and tools that you have, but why are you doing these things to begin with?"
Right.
Like, you're gonna be operating in accordance of qualities and values and being able to operate in alignment with how you wanna feel. So,
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully you do it forever.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just circling back to what we were saying, like, you don't have to do all the things all the time. You just do most things most of the time. That's it. And that's gonna look different
Yeah.
for every season of
Yeah.
life you're in. I remember talking to a client, and she was having a really bad week or something, and I'm like, "This is just your season of your life. It's okay. Things are happening." We often associate seasons of life to actual seasons, like they have to be long term or months or but no, a season of life can be a week, it can be 2 weeks, it can be a vacation. I don't know, maybe you're going to Disneyland with your kids and at like 2 and 4 years old. God bless you, but I would never go.
Godspeed. Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck. Have fun. That is a season of life of a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. That's such
right?
a good point.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and so I said, like, "This is just a week of." It's an anomaly. It doesn't happen often. Like things just came up, and it's okay. So what do? We pivot. We adapt. You do what you can, and every day and every week doesn't have to look exactly the same. Contrary to what you see on social media, and maybe you want to riff on this as well. You see fitness pros. I'm just gonna say fitness pros because influencers, whatever, fitness pros, and they look a certain way and they show up, I do this, 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 and this every day. And then you have the end user thinking, oh shit, like I have to do exactly this. And they never fail and they're always on point and they're always, everything's just so perfect. And why can't I be
Mhm.
like that?
Mhm.
That's also something that, like, I see with my clients, and I don't know if you see that, and I would love it if we could, like, talk more about it because I just had this conversation today with the client, and I'm like, "Okay, but how do you know? Like, how do you know they're doing" well, they say, I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't know. Is it real? Is it authentic?" I'm like, with AI, the more reason that you have to really be careful of who you're following and really know if they are, being quote unquote
Yeah.
authentic. Um, but how do you see that comparison show up? Like, and even for yourself, I'm just curious how you kind of
Mm,
combat that narrative. Because
well, I
yeah.
think especially with social media these days, I operate with a lot of skepticism.
Mhm.
And curiosity. I would say, like, if I wanna put it more, positively, I
Yes.
would say curiosity, and that's how I encourage other people instead of, like, getting so narrowed into, "Well, this is what they do." And it's like, "Okay, well, what else could be true?" Maybe they've been on this journey for 20 years and they adapt in the seasons of life, and yes, like, they can consistently have trained throughout those 20 years, but it looks different
Right.
in what they do. Maybe they're on steroids. Maybe they're telling you a lie, like,
Yeah.
look at all of these things, like, what else could be true? But I also would say, at what point are you getting stuck
Right.
in a place of comparison, and at what point is it not helpful?
Right, like, not moving the needle and keeping you in that, headspace, like, it's a horrible place to be, I know that, I did that for years, I always would compare, like, this person, that one, not realizing that, like, our bodies are different. You and I could be around the same height, same weight, and we're gonna look completely different, right? Body
Mhm.
composition, all of these things, and really just focusing on you, and again, the comparison, I feel like it also comes from, like, where is that coming from? Why are you comparing?
Yeah,
What's going on in your
right,
life,
and that's
right?
such a great question for people to dig into. I mean, I know for me, a lot of the body image problems that I came across was because I grew up in the 90s, and
Yeah,
it was, like, just constant. So it was, like, just fed to me, and it was a subconscious thing, and it was like, your worth and value depends on if you weigh less than 130
10
pounds
pounds or
or not.
something. Yeah, do you remember the
Right,
Shape do you
right.
remember, like, the Shape magazines and, because that's
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that was us, right? You just look at these magazine and then they had all the different headings and oh, yeah, it was and airbrushing was a thing, but we didn't realize at the time that airbrushing was a thing. Like, now
Mhm,
we
mhm.
understand there's a lot of filters, a lot of filters being used, a lot of photoshopping and stuff, but at least the audience, I'd be surprised if there's anyone out there that doesn't know that that exists, right? Like filters and photoshopping. But in our
Yeah.
generation, but then again, I don't know because people are with AI and stuff. It's crazy the shit that
It's so good. So it's
right.
almost I think that I was a little naive to how many people were using it because it's
Yeah.
so good, you can't tell.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, "Yeah, they're using it." But for me personally, and what I talk about with my
Yeah.
clients is was so freeing for me when I stopped comparing myself or saying, like, "I wanna look like her," and I just focused on me, and I focused on, like, again, acceptance of even if I did the same exact thing as that other woman, I'm not gonna look like her, and she looks great, and that's so awesome for her, and, like,
Mhm.
more like, "Yes, girl, go you,
Yes,
so
like
proud of you for the
hooray.
work that you're doing."
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
like, okay, let me focus on myself and what's gonna support me and what's gonna make me feel more confident, and it's certainly not gonna be comparing myself to someone else and just constantly doing that. Let me focus on my own growth, and as I did that, and as my
Mhm.
clients do that, you realize that that's what matters, and that's what drives you.
Yeah, like what even with weight, like the scale number, well, where do you feel the healthiest? Where do you feel like you're thriving the most? Like, you might think you wanna be 120, but you feel better at 130, right? Like,
Mhm.
so it's like you said,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
more about the feeling, and where you feel confident, than it is about certain numbers or certain sizes of clothes, which, by the way, vary. No one
My
knows you're
god.
wearing a size 8 or a 10. Who cares?
I wanted to make a video of just the
Right?
clothes in my closet and how wide variety they are. Like, I have smalls, I have extra larges, I have 6s, I have 10s, I have, like, and they all
Yes.
fit the same way.
Exactly, exactly, but we attach, like, a certain, size on a article of clothing to our worth, and,
Mhm.
I think that's the key here, like, how do we define our self-worth? And it should be more internal than all of these external things, but speaking of confidence, again, I really wanna point out that I was confident, I'm gonna put it in air quotes, throughout, like, 20s, 30s when I gained weight, lost weight, whatever, and I had people comment and say, "Oh, but you were so confident, you didn't give a fuck, like, you just did whatever, and it just looked like you were enjoying life and everything and this and that." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a mask. It's a fucking mask." I was wearing a mask, and I was just yeah, lying to myself, and I thought, like, at the time, I believed that certain things external to me were what were gonna bring me happiness, whether it was the scale weight, the clothes I was wearing, the materialistic things, all of these things were what were gonna bring me, quote, unquote, "happiness" or being content, but it wasn't what really, you know, helped me build that confidence was doing that inner work and associating my self-worth to things, not external things, but with myself, what I felt good with. And so confidence comes from, and I'm sure you've heard this too, but it does come from action because once you start doing the things, and that's whether you're questioning things, questioning your beliefs, whether you're showing up every day, doing the thing that you said you would do and following through. Um, what else? Gosh, can't think right now. But whatever the case is, it's actually doing the things. And, so that's
Yeah.
that's why I'm confident, and I feel not only I feel, I know my confidence shines through now from the inside out. It's not what
Mhm.
I look like, what I'm wearing. That just, I mean, I talk about it in our podcast, but it's like it just, enhances it all,
Mhm.
right? Like, if that makes
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah.
And so yeah, so if someone out there is thinking like, "Well, I wanna be confident too," I would argue that, it's just one step forward, like, if you're on the fence, just take that step and just do something that's realistic, doable for you and start there, and it really does just unfold. It's like a cascade effect, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's often comes from doing the things that you've been avoiding, and you have
Mhm.
to sometimes dig deep into, like, well, what am I avoiding? Is it lowering the barrier of entry and, like, starting really, really small and letting myself be where I'm at? Is it doing the thing that feels a little scary but also feels exciting?
Right.
Is it doing the thing where you're like, "I'm afraid I'm gonna fail?" I always joke with
Yeah.
people that, like, trial and error, I'm like, "Unfortunately, there
Mhm.
is error in that,
Mhm.
and you will have to
There has to
you will
be,
have to err."
right? There has to
So,
be, yeah.
remember, like, you can know that. You could be like, "Yeah, I I'm gonna fail," but, like, when you're in it, it feels hard, and sometimes it feels shitty, and just remember that, like, you did the thing. You let yourself get there, and that's freaking cool. So,
Right, and, like, acknowledge the wins, even if you think they're small, they're not because they're all compounding. They're all
mhm,
compounding, and I think it's more important to actually acknowledge the small wins than it is the big milestones, really, because I know for me and, I hope for my clients, like, we're so quick to just brush it off, so quick to
yeah,
brush off, like, just even if it's just, and I hate to use the word even because it's not even, that's contradicting what I'm saying. But if you were able to go for a walk that day and your life was so busy and so stressful, but you made it a point and said to yourself, "No, I'm getting this walk in." That's a win because you're being intentional. You're going out of your way to go do the thing that, like you just said, is hard, is uncomfortable.
mhm.
It might be freezing cold and you don't want to go outside, but you do. It is. It is as simple as that. I know it doesn't sound like it, but it really is because all of these things compound.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. My friend Lauren has this fun thing where she's like, "Where's your fuck yeah, go you moment?" Like, those are
Yeah, I
that's
love
what it
that.
is. It's like, "I went out for a walk and I really didn't want to. Fuck yeah, go me." And it can be as simple and small as that, but, like, one a day. Like,
Yeah.
have one a day, and
Ooh, I like that too. Yeah, there you go. Look at us.
yeah.
Tagline. Oh, fuck yeah, go me.
Fuck yeah, go me. Yeah. I love that. I was like, "Oh, I love that." And it makes it more fun too, like,
It
you know,
does.
have fun in the process. It doesn't have to be so serious all
Uh,
the time.
and that's just it. We do make things so serious, right? And I mean, make it fun, connect with
Mhm,
friends, do things like stack habits, right? So going for a walk, like call a friend, or
mm,
call a friend on the phone, or actually go with a friend, because again, going back to nervous system regulation, like connection is a huge piece, and sometimes we're
mhm.
missing that. So just stack habits, build those relationships. Like, once you start doing these things, you just feel better. You feel better. You have more energy. Um, and I just wish, not wish, but like it's something that I know I experienced, and I want my clients to experience. I get so happy, like, when they come on calls and they're telling me these things, and I'm like smiling ear to ear. I'm like, yes, that's awesome. That's a win.
Yeah. Yes, the little things. I get so stoked
Right?
when my people share that stuff with me. I'm like, "Oh, yeah," like, that like, the big things are awesome, and the little like, I agree. The little things matter, I would say, that much more, and it makes the process just more enjoyable, and it makes it easier because
Yeah.
all it is hard. It makes it easier to stay engaged.
More manageable. Like, it makes it more
Mhm,
manageable, right? Like, to do these things, and find a community. Like, find a community, accountability. A big missing piece for me all those years was, like, I didn't share anything with anyone. Like, I did all of these different extreme plans, um, without telling anyone, and just kinda secretly doing it, and, very, very extreme, by the way. You
mhm,
name it. And so what I found that I was missing this time around is accountability, for one, support, and just a network of people that were my peeps, I say, like, and
mhm.
and so I know you hear that saying, like, you are kind of whatever 5 people that you surround yourself with. Okay, to a certain degree, yes, but you are, and without that, and I have that support. So I've been with my coach for almost 4 years. There's a reason why, and I don't think there's any shame in it. Like, I know a lot of coaches say, "Well, my job is for you to kinda go off and do your own thing and learn the things, that I shouldn't have to be your coach anymore." But I kind of disagree. I'm like, yeah, that is the end goal. But if you need me, I'm here, and there's no shame in the game. Like, it's
Yeah.
okay. You can stay with me as long as you want. Maybe the relationship is going to look different. Like, you're not going to meet week to week. Maybe it's once a month. Um, but I know for forever I will need accountability. I will. And I know I'm a coach, but I'm gonna need that support, and I'm gonna need that accountability. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What's your
I love
take
that
on
you
that?
said I no, I love that you said that. I mean, I would like anybody that I work with to be able to not to be in a place where they don't need me. Like, I want them to have skills and tools and to go off. However, I completely agree that I don't think that it's a bad thing to stay with a coach because, again, there's so many different seasons of life, and you can use these skills and tools in different ways, in different applications. There's a lot of adjusting. And I think that there's power in having perspective, having some accountability, having someone to connect with. Like, I have my own coaches, and I've been with them for years because it makes me better, and I
Yeah.
realize that, like, just having that extra support and not having to take on all of the things by myself allows me to be able to do more, and it allows me to operate at a higher level, and
Yeah.
that's worth it to me.
I agree.
So
I totally agree with you. And like, I'll tell a short story here. And I remember there was a moment when I was training with my coach, and there was a moment, like, I had a little glimpse of, like, oh, should I continue doing this? And I wasn't yet on the other side of it. So I was kind of questioning myself, doubting, and I'm like, but ultimately I decided to stick with it. Thank God I did, because that was a pivotal moment in my life. Because had I not made that decision to continue going forward, I wouldn't have made it to the other side. And
mm,
that was so crucial for me, because I had to make it to the other side, whatever that other side looked like, which is basically like, okay, you're in. Like, you're in. This is a lifetime, in my mind, like, this is gonna be a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
You're starting to like it, you may not love it, but you've worked on, I continued the counseling, I continued the inner work and stuff, so it all worked together, it was cohesive, and because I made it to the other side, and even though I had a shit ton of more work to do, that's all I needed. I needed to get over that hump, and,
Mm.
so that's why, again, letting go of the timeline is so crucial in this process. There's some things that you just don't know until you know. And that's when I knew.
Well, yeah, I think that's most things.
Right,
You
most
don't know
things.
until you
Exactly,
Do you
exactly.
think I'm I'm curious, like, in that space where you were thinking about
Mhm.
leaving coaching, do you think that there was a fear or, like, a self-protection, something popping up where it was like, "I'm about to go into some areas that I haven't been in before."
Yeah, yeah, I think I was getting deeper with the inner work, and there's just things in my life that were a lot, and maybe I didn't wanna deal with it. The fear of the unknown has always been with me, like, that's always something that deterred me from even going back to what I was saying in the beginning, that deterred me from even confronting, those things that I knew I needed to confront, and so just fast forward in that moment, if I really think about it, because that's a really interesting question. I don't think I've actually sat down and actually reflected on what it was exactly that said that voice in my head that said, "Hey, keep going." I just know that that voice did say, "Hey, keep going." Yeah, it must have been that fear of not necessarily failing, but just forging ahead and what that was
Mm,
gonna look like, you know? And it was easier, again, our bodies, our brain, they seek comfort, right? The familiar. And I think in that moment now, as I'm thinking about this as we speak, it was like, no, that's easier. That's more comfortable. Let's go back. Glad I didn't. Glad I didn't.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, wow. Thanks for asking that. I'm gonna actually sit on
Oh,
that. That was an awesome
yeah, I know, I was
question.
like, Jordan, I was like, "I'm waiting I will wait to hear this answer later because I I love that."
Yeah. Yeah,
Um
I'm gonna write on that. That's actually a really good question. I'm gonna take some time. See, look at you coaching me.
Sometimes I throw out a really good question, so I love that. If I can help someone think a little bit deeper,
Entice.
then I feel like I've done a good job,
Oh, yeah.
so
There's your win for the day. You're good now.
yeah,
Go have fun.
there's a fuck yeah, go me.
Yeah, go
How do
me.
you I know, see?
Yeah.
I'm gonna spread this, you spread it too.
I'm
I'll
going
tell
to.
more. How do you do with facing the unknown and uncertainty now?
So part of me knows that I chose to face a lot of my fears in a moment in my life that I was experiencing a lot of, like, extreme life stress, um, making decisions and choosing to do things in a way that I hadn't for years. So having gone through that, and seeing where I am at now, the other side of it, um, I don't think there's really, like, I just don't think that I'm not gonna say I'm fearless, of course I'm not fearless, but I just take on every opportunity now and just go with it. Like, I don't hesitate, um, and that is facing a fear, right? Like, our it could be our imposter syndrome, whatever that might be, or low confidence, or just, if you're unsure of things, but if you don't do it and take action, then you won't know, and then you keep yourself stuck, and I don't wanna ever be stuck again because I feel like I was stuck within a prison. That's how I describe it, that I created for myself, for 2, 3 decades, and
Mm,
especially over 2 decades, and I lived within those 4 walls, and I never wanna be there again, and so going back to something that my coach said was kinda like, "Seize every opportunity," don't don't say no, just go for it. That is what I'm trying to do. And I know, so for example, you had messaged me. Of course, I have my own podcast, but you had messaged me, and there was a little glimmer or flicker of, oh, do I want to do this? But again, that's just the old me popping up, right?
Mhm.
And so, and it was like, no, no, yes, just reply yes right now. So
I
that's
know you were fast, so
that's why. That's where that's coming from. I'm like, if I give myself time to think about it, or, you know, give myself reasons to delay it and say, oh no, let's do it in a few weeks. Well, I'm still facing the same type of the feelings that are going to be coming up, right? So no, fuck it, just do it. So fuck it and find
yeah.
out, right? Or what we say, fuck around and
Yeah,
find
fuck
out.
around and find out.
So there's another one. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
I love
that's
that.
yeah, I think that's how I kind of see life now as well. I know we're going deep, but it really is like this has been a transformative experience for me. The entire thing, the entire process, because it wasn't just about weight and losing 120 pounds. It was like about finding myself, like, or going back home to myself, and
Mhm.
finding those parts I think that were in me, but really just like evolving, growing, and make it I never thought this is where I'd be at this age. Like, I didn't think I'd be a nutrition coach. I mean, gosh, I didn't even know that existed. But I gave up, like, basically gave
Yeah.
up an entire career. Like, I have my background's in something completely different, and said, yeah, I'm doing this. And, very thankful for my coach to encourage and nudge me, and, have this is another thing, like the belief in me that I didn't have in myself at that time. And that was so
Mm.
powerful. And I think that's something that coaches can bring to the table for their clients. And you do that, I do that, is believing in someone more than they believe in themselves. I mean, I totally believe in myself now, but I'm still borrowing that belief from my friends or my coach.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a powerful, powerful thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, a big word that was coming into my mind too is just courage.
Yeah,
Is like
courage.
it sounds like that's something that you really lean into. That's something I can relate to where I've done something similar the past few years was I was like, if I have this, whether it's I'm uncertain, I've never done it, it's new, I'm afraid, if it feels slightly exciting to me and if there's opportunity for growth, then I'm saying yes.
There you go.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's so I can relate, and it's led to the coolest shit.
Right?
So
Oh my gosh, it
Mhm.
so has. I have met my best friends, my good friends, by going to in-person conferences, just getting into this industry period. I always had this narrative that you can't make friends in your 40s. Like, it's really difficult, or if you are,
Yeah.
it's going to be like your kids school friends, their moms, and I'm not a school mom type of mom. I pull up in the van, open the door, and like, I'm like, get out, get out, get out.
Yeah.
Even when I pick him up in the winter, I'm like, just stand in the corner. Oh my god, I'm so bad. No, but that's just not me.
I hear you. I hear you.
And so yeah, I've met so many wonderful people. Just like, yeah, I never imagined this for myself. So this entire experience has been very surreal for me. I mean, let alone like helping guide others to their own transformational journeys, right? Like, which is huge. And so there's a sense of fulfillment and purpose, and just like a love for life, that I haven't had in a long time. So yeah, I'm so thankful. So thankful for this community, and these opportunities. You and I, even this, like, this is great. So thank you.
It is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thank you. All right, Dal, I'm gonna put you in a hot seat and just like
Mm,
ask you some mostly just like fun random questions to wrap up
sure.
our episode.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's see if I can.
I know, rapid fire.
God.
What's your favorite and least favorite fitness movements?
Oh gosh, my favorite. I love legs. Love leg
Okay.
exercises. So I love working out my legs. Um, Least favorite, I know people will say like the Bulgarian split squat, but I don't mind it, so I'm not even gonna go there. I don't know if I have a least favorite. Can't think of anything right off the top of my head right now. Definitely favorite is working my legs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure Andrew will be happy to hear that.
Right?
What's something random that you know a lot about?
Ooh, trains and cars.
Is that from your kids or
Kids and
from
just
you?
yeah, just, growing up around people that like cars and things like that. So, yeah.
Okay.
I know.
That's a good one. What's a go-to meal for you when you're short on time or you're in a spot of decision fatigue?
Ooh, eggs, quick. I always have them on hand. Eggs, toast. Can make them Indian style. Can make them kind of however I want. But I have a really good system, so I have a ton of batch cooked meals in my freezer. So really, I
Oh,
mean, but if I don't,
great.
if I don't want to like cook, yeah, eggs are it. It takes literally 2 minutes to make, so that would be my go-to meal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Love that. Also, I'm like, wait, I need this. I need your Indian style eggs recipe.
I'll send it to you.
Um, okay. if if you were to go to the Olympics, this is a conversation I had with someone the other day because it's on. If you were to go to the Olympics, what sport would you want to go for?
Summer or winter?
You know what? Whichever.
Okay. If it
I'll pick
was
you.
summer, I love synchronized swimming. Like,
Ooh,
yes. Yeah, I
yeah.
love watching that. So that would be it. Even though I can't swim.
Those people are so talented. I'm like, I don't even know how they hold their breath for that long,
Oh,
let
yeah.
alone do it with
Well, and the
all of
music,
it.
like some of how they're synchronized, like, oh, yeah. Especially when it's a cool song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Ooh, that's a good one. What's something about you that not many people know?
Oh gosh, I feel like I journal to the whole world in my captions on Instagram. But there's some things I keep private, but I'm trying to think, what is something that someone doesn't know about me? Like what? Give me
I don't know, do you have
a
any, like, secret talents or, um, embarrassing things that you do?
I mean, I can't sing if my life depended on it. There's that. I have no rhythm, no tone, no voice. I'm never in key.
But do you like to sing?
I mean, yeah, my kids tell me to stop every time I do. Like, Mom, stop. Well, something now that people know about me, like I was 42 when I got my first tattoo, so I am like getting inked up. So that,
Oh my god.
yeah, I'm
You
just
have, like,
getting,
2
yeah,
sleeves.
I'm getting this one. I have this one done, and then I have my whole back done too. So, that was a big fu to everyone that told me what I should or could or couldn't do with my body. So it's like, and like it's an expression, right? So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I love that. Ooh, that's a fun fact. Okay.
yeah. So that's new.
Okay. I wouldn't have guessed that. So, thank you. That's a good little fun fact about you.
I'm actually quite introverted. You'd be surprised. When I'm social, I am
Oh.
highly social, but then I like to retreat back to my little cave. So yeah, there's something that people don't know about me.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that I am, like, an extroverted introvert, so
Yes.
I like both as well.
There's a new categorization for that actually, and I
I
can't quite think
saw
about
that.
it right now. Right? Like I saw that
I feel
somewhere.
like it starts with an O,
Yes.
but
Yes.
I was like, "Oh, maybe that's what I am." But I can't I have to look it up.
Right.
Okay, 2 more questions. If you could outsource any task or chore forever, what would it be?
Jeez. I'd say laundry, but no, even though I despise it, it's a bane of my existence. Cooking. Cooking. Yeah, make my food
Okay.
and wash the dishes
Oh,
after. But okay, fine. We'll just leave it at cook. Just make my meals. I'll do the dishes. Yeah, yeah, my
okay.
meals.
That's what I like cooking, but if someone could do the dishes for me forever, I would. So you and I could.
Yeah, we could just we could live together. Yeah, I don't mind. Like, I do love cooking.
Yeah.
but not so much anymore. Now I'm like, yeah, if I'm doing it for somebody or, for a dinner party or something like that,
Yeah.
I've grown up with like food is a love language and all of that. So I'm a
Yeah.
really good cook,
Yeah.
but I'd rather just not do it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. What does doing cool shit mean to you?
What does doing cool shit? Oh, well, in this moment now in my life, would be nurturing my relationships, my friendships. Yeah. And whatever that looks like for me in this season of life. So whether it's making the time to chat with friends, seeing friends, um, yeah, that's I'd say that's what cool shit is for me. Yeah, and and I'll focus on me more, as the seasons of life kind of evolve. But for now, that's where I'm putting a lot of my energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. That's a good one. All right. Well, this is where you got to, plug yourself and tell people how to connect with you and anything else that you want to like plug your podcast for sure.
Yeah.
I'll
I, I, I
leave
f-
all the stuff in the
I forget we have that actually. Okay, so all roads, for me, it's all Instagram. So you can find me on Instagram, Nutrition Coaching by Dal, DAL. And we have our podcast, my friend and colleague as well, coach. Gosh, breaking the cycle, redefining, hope I get this right, weight loss, health, and mom life. I never do the intro, she does. So
Carmi's like, come on, Dal, get it
don't
together.
fuck this up. Just search our names.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I'll link
it.
it. I'll link it.
Okay.
I'll make it easy. So
Yeah, so we shoot the shit a lot and we laugh like hyenas and it's entertainment and educational
love
as
that.
well. So yeah, that's it. And yeah, I just want to say thank you. This has been awesome. It's like, what we say, like
Yeah.
girlfriend power hour. That's what it felt like.
I know. I was like, selfishly, I started this podcast because like I just want to chat with people,
I know.
like cool people about things that I'm passionate about. We're passionate about for an hour. So
Right?
this was great, and I'm so excited that you were available and brave and said yes, and that we got our technology to work.
I know. I know. No, it turned out good. Thank you again. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
All right, guys. Again, I will link all of Dal's information in the notes so you can connect with her, listen to their podcast, and reach out if you have any questions at all. And we'll catch you next